I'm Autumn Belcher, and I'm doing my presentation on promoting reading comprehension in secondary students with learning disabilities. This article is about helping teachers better students that have issues with reading and comprehending what they read. Which brings me to, what is reading comprehension? It is the process of understanding what you or somebody else has read. Comprehension is to interpret what the author has stated based on your background knowledge, experiences, and abilities that you have. In the article, it states why reading comprehension is important for students with learning disabilities. It says that all content area courses uses literary or informational text, so students must comprehend specific texts and grasp the concepts being used in them. The article also states that students in grades 4 through 12 spend the majority of their days in content area classes. So this is like social studies, math, English, language. And as the students advance in school, reading instruction should become more disciplinary. So why should reading comprehension become more disciplinary in schools? Because the goal of reading comprehension is to help students understand written language. That way, all the students can read a variety of materials with ease and interest. So the reason why this article was written was to not just help one student or one teacher. It's to help everybody learn how to comprehend and how to teach students with disabilities how to comprehend what they read. In the article, it gives us strategies for us teachers to use to help us teach this comprehension. Some of the strategies are word level interventions, explicit instruction with scaffolding and feedback, student collaboration, which relies heavily on the teacher guidance, reciprocal teaching, graphic organizers such as the Venn diagram, stuff like that, and work in small groups to help get the students talking about what they have read and to help other students kind of help them. So in the article, it gives us examples of how to teach the comprehension to students by giving us examples before reading, during reading, and after reading. So before reading, we really want to get the students thinking, brainstorming kind of, and we really want to help them think about their background information, because in order to get their background information, they might make a connection to the book that we will be reading. So say we were reading the book The Great Gilly Hopkins, and this is a book about a little girl who is in foster care. So a connection that we could brainstorm or might make before we read the book is if a little girl in my classroom was born in a foster home or was adopted from a foster home, and that could be a connection to maybe get that person interested in reading this book first of all, and help them pretty much understand what is going on in the book. Okay, and that was just an example of how we would start brainstorming before reading the book, how we make those connections before we read the book. And we really want to keep that short because you never know, their minds might wander off after 15 to 20 minute brainstorming. Okay, and so during reading, we really want the students to start asking and answering questions. We really want their brains to work in that aspect of it. And we want to use also graphic organizers to help the students organize and remember important ideas that have happened in the book. That way they remember and they don't forget what happened in the book. So, for example, in the book The Great Gilly Hopkins, if a child doesn't know, he or she may not know what foster care is, then maybe we can get them in small groups, and that way they can ask and answer each other's questions. So if a student doesn't know what foster care is, then I would put him in the same group with the student that was in foster care, and maybe they could work with that and work with each other on helping each other remember what is going on in the book. Okay, so like I said in the article, it states how we should teach comprehension before, during, and after reading. So after reading, we really want to get the students to summarize the main ideas that have happened in the book. We really want to teach them how to use self-questioning strategies to reflect on what they have read. Okay, so other materials that can be used to help teach struggling secondary students is any other text such as magazines, newspaper articles, internet sources, library books, which all can supplement content area learning. So any magazines that might have science or social studies or even mathematics, that would be helpful in teaching struggling secondary students. Ways for students to monitor their reading, such as like graphic organizers, like I've said, study guides, and even note-taking charts. We really want the students to take notes, like what they have read, and you can even do that by using a reading log or a reading journal. And even like sticky notes, index cards, or any type of paper for students to write on for their summaries. Like they can even put sticky notes in their books to help them remember, and they could write, hey, this is something important, or this is a simile if you're learning similes, or this is foreshadowing, anything like that, and you can use it that way. They know that they have to go back. If they have a sticky note on that page, they have to go back to that page and read it. Okay, so just to recap now on what I have been talking about, which is promoting reading comprehension in struggling secondary students with learning disabilities. And we really need to teach reading comprehension, and we need to help these students that don't know what they've just read, because throughout school, that is what you're going to have to learn. Not in just reading classes or language classes, but even in science. Like they have to read books and they have to understand what they have just read. And say like in science there was a lab and they don't really get what the lab was, so they're not going to do the lab right, and they're not going to get the right results that they would have if they understood what they have just read. So pretty much reading comprehension is pretty important for students, and we really need to harp on the students that have trouble with reading, and especially have trouble with reading and figuring out what they have just learned. So we really need to help guide them into the right direction. So I'm Autumn Belcher, and that was my article presentation. Thank you.